Let's look at one of the most commonly used commands in the PPTXHandler portfolio, which is text. It sets a shape's text and the format in a very flexible way. We'll also look at a series of other parameters that we can change in the text and how. I'm going to take rectangle 1 and I want to put in some, let's say, hello world as the text here, but I want to do that programmatically. So let's save the blank presentation. And in rectangle 1, text colon hello world within f strings is what will give us this result. Let's run it. And that creates hello world, but unfortunately it has no color. We have to explicitly make it black. So that's not ideal. And that may be because this original shape didn't have any color or text associated with it. So in order to make the color black, or in order to make any kind of formatting changes, we use a language kind of like HTML, where you can specify italics, bold, color, and pretty much anything else. The exact list of things that you can specify are here. What I'm going to do is pick the color and make it, let's say, a color is equal to black and /a. Let's run this after we close the output. SlideSense. Now that creates a run with the color black. So the way the text is organized is there are paragraphs like this and there are runs. So you can have a paragraph, an entire paragraph, either bulleted, for example, but this paragraph is not bulleted or is indented to a different level. And each paragraph can contain one or more runs, which can be formatted in different ways. So here, for example, change the color here. We have hello as one run, W as another run, OR as another run, and LD as another run. Runs cannot be nested, so you just have to use them sequentially. Paragraphs are indicated by P, the P tag, and runs are indicated by the A tag. So for paragraphs, you can specify these attributes: the alignment, left, right, etc. The level of indentation, by default that's 0, but if you want it indented, you can put in level 1, level 2. The line spacing, so how much space between each line you want, and spacing before and spacing after and spacing before, which is the margin on top and margin at the bottom. Runs have a longer list of attributes that you can specify. It's important to keep the attributes for the runs with the runs and the attributes for the paragraphs with the paragraphs. If you don't, they're likely to be ignored and you won't get the effect that you want. So let's create some slightly more complex. In fact, let's just recreate this. I want hello world and this new para to come in exactly as it is in this output. So we'll take this input and convert it to this output by specifying in YAML, I can use multi-line text by putting in a greater than here or not. I mean, there are many other ways of doing it, but I like the greater than approach. So I'm going to say F quotes, put in a paragraph in which we have hello, which is in a run, which is bold. And that run ends. Let's add a space after that run. The next run begins, in which we have an italic is equal to yes, and we put in a W. Then we have OR, so which is a italic is yes, and color is red. OR, and the next run has LD, so a italic is yes, and color, oh, I don't need the color, it's just italicized. So LD, close this. And then we can close the paragraph. Let's put in the next paragraph in the next line. So this actually introduces a set of spaces before the paragraph, but we'll worry about that later. New para /p. I didn't put in an A, but it adds it automatically. Let's see if this works. I'm going to well, close this output, run SlideSense, and it says I have an error here. That's because Python doesn't allow a single quote to have new lines inside it. So we can convert that to a triple quote, which allows new lines in the string, and run SlideSense. Now this didn't set the color to black for the other text. So what we'll do is set color is equal to black, and do that for each of the other elements. But there's a simpler way of doing that. What we normally do is just put in some dummy text here. And when the color of this dummy text is set, that will be copied by the rest and it will inherit from that. So now you see hello. Okay, so this one didn't inherit it. It's only the first one that inherited. So we will still have to specify the color for the rest of them. Color is equal to black. Here we have color is equal to red. For the next run, color is equal to black, and create a run here. Color is equal to black. And now let's run this. Black should be black. Right, so that has the effect that we wanted earlier. Now, one thing that you must remember is that these are not HTML. They look like HTML, but it's not really HTML, and you have to follow the syntax here. You can apply this to an entire shape as well. So you can say for the whole shape, make it bold or set the color to something. For example, we have this dummy text and another paragraph here. So if I wanted to change, let's say, the font size to instead of 18, make it, let's say, 24 point, which I need to wrap as an F string, and the font name to, instead of Arial, which is a body font, let's make it Algerian, which would be a very different effect. F quote Algerian. And we can, let's say, make it bold yes, or bold true, or bold 1. Any of these would work. Running that will change the whole rectangle to a different font size, different font name, and also make it bold if it wasn't already bold earlier. Any of these commands can be applied to a shape, and you can also use these attributes within the text to change the text. There's one last thing that I wanted to mention, which is replace. Replace allows you to change text within a run. So I have dummy text, another paragraph. So let's say this is one run and paragraph is another run. I can use the replace command as follows. I can say another should become yet another. Paragraph should become para. And note that I am using the same case as in the original. However, if I changed, let's say, another paragraph, okay, that won't work. That's what I wanted to show you. But let's start with this. So I run SlideSense, and I forgot to put the F quotes. This says yet another para. But let's try something else. Instead of this, I say another paragraph becomes yet another para, and run it. In the output, it makes no changes. That's because there is no single run that has the phrase another paragraph. The first run has another, second run has paragraph. That's because the formatting is slightly different. So keep this in mind. When in doubt, delete the whole thing, type in whatever you want as a single run without any change in formatting. And sorry, I type it on the output. Let me do that to the input. And now when we run SlideSense, this replaces it because it's part of the same run. So that in a nutshell is how you use text and text formatting.